Black Panther.
Let's go.
I saw it Saturday night, and Saturday night I saw it, and I was so like distracted by all the special effects. I really didn't get the whole story of it, so I gave it like an 85. Today I was able to enjoy the whole story of it and the special effects. I give it like a 94.
Wow.
Yeah, it's much, and it also may have to do with the fact that it's RPX and it was 3D and the sound was better and the visuals were better. Because yesterday I saw it in regular video, but I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to seeing the cast and the background of this movie in Infinity Wars.
Any highlight you want to give us? Or low light? For 94, there's very little low light.
Yeah, very little lowlights. I mean, the characters were great. I think the best thing about this movie is it took on adult, complicated, confronting issues and didn't necessarily resolve them, just kind of showed you one way they could be resolved, and kind of really dealt with something that Disney doesn't often deal with. Family issues.
I don't know about all that, but
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. Family issues.
Well, Disney deals with family issues, I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but not like, not like. I don't
Not
think
like
of any
this.
spoilers.
Not
Yeah,
like this.
and then also really like how countries relate to each other and how they're dealing with each other and what they're going to do about that. And in the movie, Wakanda is a fabulously strong and wealthy and very healthy country that doesn't exist in the real world. So probably the closest thing to that in the real world would be America. And what are we doing about things? So that's what I enjoyed most. Now, lowlights, the accents were kind of weak all the way around. It's a made-up accent, so it kind of sounded like it. It might be raining, so I'm going to wrap this up.
Duck hunting outside.
Yeah, but 94.
94. Larry,
Well,
what'd you think?
it was close to the comic. I think there were some scenes they juxtaposed, like Manape is actually supposed to be the big villain, but he's kind of like a supporting, like a neutral guy. I expect that Manape's going to be a villain in the future, and he's going to be a fun villain. As far as the hero, as a writing, this was the prototypical journey of the hero, from the farm boy type Luke Skywalker deal where like you're making jokes and you're not like king, so you don't know how it is, to being buried in the sand and taking your journey to the underworld to get your knowledge, and then having the best villain ever. Happens to be a very complex villain to change your worldview so that you can grow as a character into the role you're supposed to be. And I think based on that was the thing I liked the most about the movie, because unlike the formulaic Marvel movies we've had already where the hero's already established, or Doctor Strange, he's never going to change, he's going to stay the same, this hero is actually a very good mythological prototypical hero set with a mythological culture which is very strong in legends. So based on that, I'd give it like a 90.
Yeah.
The visuals were great, so that just improved the writing 100%. Right. And then the high point was the comedy. I love Dana Garai. She was so awesome in that.
Who she played?
She played the general.
Okay.
So she came from I guess being the bad girl person in Walking Dead as Michonne to this really strong female character, which I liked all the strong female characters. But the low point was sometimes they didn't stick with the comic, but it's MCU, so you got to take it with a grain of salt.
That's cool, man. I like what you said, though. That actually made me like it more, what your explanation about how they laid out that hero's journey. So I did like that. All right.
I absolutely loved it. As a Marvel comic fan, it was just a phenomenal movie. I enjoyed the family dynamics. I liked the fact that the son went after the father's beliefs in the tail end of it, and challenged him and said, this isn't the right way. We need to do this in a better way. And he challenged the entire system, and that was really cool.
Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it on my end.
And then we usually grade it out of 100, like Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm going to give it a 95. I loved it. The special effects were intense.
Yeah.
They were absolutely just, the scenery was beautiful.
All right, cool. Gene.
Okay, well, so I'm really bad now because I'm not a comic book fan, so to speak, of Black Panther. I remember knowing that Black Panther was the first Black Marvel character. And so I was excited to see that transition to live action, especially when I saw glimpses of it in the Civil War. And so I'm appreciative of how Marvel has still tried to keep heroes fresh, but creating a new opportunity for launching a whole new other journey into some of these other superhero characters that can give all, especially younger kids, the opportunity to dream or to see themselves as a hero.
Yeah.
Because I agree that it is about, or I saw it fundamentally as a story about honor and how that has conflicting decisions with that. And I love the empowerment of women because we saw glimpses of that in Wonder Woman, but I think that how the connection between men and women relations in relation to overall culture, everybody can fit their lane. His sister was the IT person, you know, the brilliant person, but she was young and trendy. And so the Kendrick Lamar score reminded me of when Batman first was trying to re-energize that brand. And Prince did the soundtrack for that, which was...
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
You know, a pull so that you could think of Batman and now I think Black Panther in other mediums that are now more appropriate for generational consumption. You know, the music, the fashion, the handshakes, some of the language, and then all Marvel films, I appreciate the action, but I was appreciative of the change from traditional gun weaponry a lot to more hand-to-hand, or in a sense going back to the spear, which is a cultural metaphor, but that it can be used to empower. And it's not, it's almost analogous to how Indians had bows and arrows, but they were still able to defend and in some cases win against the Cowboys, and so I love that part.
Big theme in this is tradition versus innovation. So we broke the characters down. Okoye is a traditionalist, so she fights with a traditional weapon. The African spear is always made out of vibranium, and she fights in a very traditional style. It almost looks like dancing when she fights.
And then I also thought that Michael Jordan played a much better, or his character development as an antagonist was much better than his lines as one of the protagonists in Fantastic Four.
I hail King, kill my God.
So I'm glad that a casting decision was made to let him do another one of these again, because so many black male actors have a hard time moving from character to character. Even within action, things are always atypical. The sidekick, or the guy who is the most aggressive, that sacrifices himself for the rest of the crew.
Right, or the black friend, the best black friend.
Right. So to grade it, I'd say I give it a 97.
Wow.
And I say that because I think it is the cornerstone for the next wave of superhero formula type of thing. I see there being an opportunity for some more actors of color to be in those lead characters without the anxiety of Hollywood thinking that if they cast something all black, that it's not going to get, the worldwide box office. And so it took Marvel to be the vehicle to allow for all those extras. Or, I mean, that was everybody got paid. And then I know that the design, Ruth Carter, the costume design woman, she's done some phenomenal costume designing on some other films. but this is an opportunity in a fantasy to create all these different costumes. And I know that she hired illustrators, and it looked like the list of all those technical people.
It's so easy to translate this cultural experience into a futuristic model.
And the choreography and then the stunts and all that. I mean, it was just a great inclusive picture, and so that's why I give it the 97. Not as much for the significance of the story so much, but as the opportunity that it represents to open up a whole new universe. Right? Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thanks for the ticket.
Okay, so I was catching some flack about what I was saying about this movie during the credits. I liked it. I liked this movie. It was really strong writing, some seriously beautiful visuals, killer cast, really well cast, really well acted by everybody. I like the story was really strong too. I like lots of character development, setting up a lot for what's going to come later in the MCU. I am personally a little bit tired of the Marvel film, like the same. It's not the same every movie, but it sticks to something they think is like.
So you're tired of good movies, is what you're saying.
It's like they have the antagonist and then the villain, and it seems the same thing keeps happening with the antagonist and the villain in every Marvel movie. I just wish this movie had a very strong antagonist, really strong villain.
I lived my entire life waiting for this moment. I trained, I lied, I killed, just to get here. I killed in America, Afghanistan, Iraq. I took life from my own brothers and sisters right here on this continent. And all this death, just so I could kill you.
I just don't like what they did with him at the end. Not gonna spoil anything, but I give this movie a 90 out of 100 because I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. I like the score a lot. Costumes were amazing. Yeah, I just think it was a really strong movie, and yeah.
Word?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So I'm going to give a contrary opinion to Tommy. I will never be tired of great superhero movies, done well, done true to the comics, done favorable. It is outrageous, these comments from Tommy. That said, very much enjoyed the movie. I actually have seen it twice. I saw it on Thursday night when it opened, and I saw it tonight. And I have to say, seeing it the second time was really important because it was a better experience for me. I was able to focus on what the movie was trying to say more than getting little nerd stuff that bothered me about the movie. For the most part, I thought it was very true to comics. There's an image in the movie that's right off a comic panel, one of the earliest things with the rhinos are in the trailer, so I can say there's a shot of Black Panther wrestling down a rhino that is right off the comics page. It's one of the first things they show him doing in the Fantastic Four issue where he debuted. That sung to me. I thought the cast was exquisite. Chadwick Boseman is fantastic as T'Challa, Black Panther. Denai Guerrera was mentioned by Larry. She's fantastic in this movie. She brings such joy to the role. I thought Lupita Nyong'o is very good as oh boy, the names are tough in this movie. I don't remember her character's name, but she's really good in it. Michael B. Jordan is great as the villain. Martin Freeman does really yeoman's work as like the token white guy in this movie, but the movie does great strides to not do the same old with the one white guy in mostly black movie.
You could say the token white guy.
It's true. But it's fantastic, and this movie is so important because Marvel is saying this movie's projected to make a lot of money this weekend, and that's really important, particularly if it does well overseas, because it means that what Gene was saying, it means that a movie fronted by people of color can make money overseas, which is why you have seeing a sea of white faces, because overseas money is big, and that's why they tend to see. That's why you have Matt Damon starring in a movie set in China, you know, because that's the thing. Anyway, I'm sorry. I very much enjoyed this flick. Let's see. I thought Andy Serkis great as Claw. Let's see. Can I think of anything else I really want to say about it? I thought it was a powerful film. Killmonger's not my favorite villain, but he's very good. Certainly top 5. I'm going to give it a 90 out of 100. I increased it 5 points for my second viewing. Really great film. A worthy entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I can't wait for the next 2. We've got Infinity War later this year, Ant-Man and the Wasp later this year. I can't wait.
So I thought it was amazing. I really enjoyed the movie. I did have some problems with the movie. You know, I'll go to what I loved. They had this thing where each of the traditions, they created movements for the traditions. So there you are creating this thing, and the shoulders are bouncing, right? They're about to go to war, the shoulders are bouncing, or they're like sailing on the boat and they're all doing the same specific movement, and they're creating these movements. And to me, that's real world building. That's really like gives it a texture that most movies don't take the time to create that texture. The costuming was the next level, like beautiful costuming. People will be cosplaying this, and people will be trying to look like these characters, you know, for years to come. So I liked all that. I thought Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther, I thought he was great. He was better than he's ever been in any other, well, he was only in one other, right? So he was better than he was in that. And let's see, all the people were really good. I thought his sister in the movie, she was sort of a comic relief, and they sort of took like a modern day twist to her. Like she was like a modern young woman. I thought she was good when she had to be comedic, but as soon as she had to get dramatic, it was like, whoa, who is it? It's like dead. There was like nothing.
His name is Letitia Wright.
Yeah, there was nothing coming out of her. But that was all fine. There's a key plot point in this movie that I didn't quite get or understand, and I thought it was like hand waving, like, yeah, this is just how this goes, and you guys should just go along with this. And I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. But I'll go along with it I'm watching a movie, so I'm going to go along with this here. And it was a big plot point that I didn't understand. And I've had these guys try to explain it to me, and I still don't get it. So there was that. Also, everyone here talks about how great the villain was. Michael B. Jordan's performance, for me, I mean, he was chewing scenery. He was like big. He was very big in this thing. It was not subtle. It was not a subtle performance. It was very much like big. And I think if he toned it down, for me, it would have been better. I hail King, kill my God. Those are like all my sort of complaints about it. And hearing that everyone else that saw it twice is like, I got a higher score, I tend to think that I'd probably be in the same ballpark as that, because the score I'm going to give it an 87, which is really high for me. Like, it's a really thing. It's like a really good movie for me. But it was not the Godfather of the Marvel movies, is what I'm hearing. It just was not that for me. And I did like the spiritual plane that they went to. There was a lot of like visually very cool. There were some kind of like bullshit physical things that human beings did that you're like, are they human, or did they eat the magic flower too? Which I like, eating the magic flower instead of it being a metal. But anyway, so that's it, man. 87. Go see it. If you wanted to see it, definitely see it. Comment if you don't agree with me. Like, share my movies, all that stuff. I love you.
Well,
yeah.
If you had to use one word about the movie, what is it?
Satisfying.
Slide on me now. You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and